Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron, where we are currently stockpiling and upgrading tanks, and that is absolutely fantastic. Before we launch this offensive, I want to finish off this training over here. The Kurdistani state joined the Greater East Asian Co-Prosperity Sphere. Hang on, does that actually do anything for us? Or rather, against us? Maybe. Where is the Kurdistani state? That's this. Okay, so that's not an actual problem necessarily, but this is part of Kurdistan here. They're not in the war right now. But that could be a problem, because that could widen this front. What's the status of defenses here? Okay, so we need this to be brought up in priority. And we'll just have to scroll through the list until we find it here. Where is it? It's in here somewhere, but probably near the bottom. Yes, it is here. Okay, so I moved that up to the top of the list. We are now prioritizing constructing here, because it's very likely, I think, that Kurdistan is brought into the war. Now, the Great Iranian Empire is controlled by the Republic of Turkey here, so that means that this entire front would be in play. Now, we have enough troops here that I think we can definitely handle that. But it would make things a little awkward for us. Okay, let's see if they get called in. They haven't yet. So they're not in the war yet. They're just in the faction. But they're embargoing Japan. What? Hang on. They're embargoing their faction leader. Okay, that's an interesting diplomatic move. I'm not 100% certain I understand what their goal is there, but okay. Sure. We should be in a decent spot, even if they do get called into the war here. We'll see what happens there. Well, actually, yeah, even without them being in the war, we still need to take action here because we can see that this is absolutely a thing here. So, to that end, we're going to need to grab this army and delete all of these fronts because we need to now have this all be one front, but we can't do that. Okay. So we're going to need to grab 8 troops from up here. Like this, and have a separate front up here, but that front is also going to need to extend to here. Them not being in this war is really awkward because it's really going to mess up our front lines here. Okay, so we're going to grab these guys here. They're going to be responsible for frontlining this. That's just 3 divisions for right now. And we've got 13 divisions here. We've got 8 divisions here. In theory, this will provide us full coverage, at least until such a time as these guys get in the war and we can unify these lines. But that's very awkward, for sure. And 13 divisions here is a lot of divisions. I'm going to grab 2 of these divisions. Or rather, 3 of these divisions, and I'm going to move them here. So 8, 10, 6 is the idea. Let's actually make this be 7 and 7, like that. Okay. Okay, so now they're called in. That's understood. I'm going to immediately have this guy come in here, and I'm going to have this guy come in here. Okay, so in we come, and we've got this territory now in theory. Why is this being flipped to us? That's very odd. Okay, so that's all understood. Let's just have these guys come straight on in here. And we're going to need to get this grouped up a little bit here. So this is going to be a little awkward. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to completely delete all of this. And we're just going to have them frontline like, oh, right. we're still going to be split because of the United Arab Republic over here. Okay. So I'm going to delete this. Now, this is controlled by the Republic of Turkey. But these are as well. Okay, so this is going to be very awkward here. We're going to need to do something like this. And then we're going to need to grab these guys up here. They're going to frontline like this. That's 14 divisions. For the moment, I'm okay with that. We've got 10 divisions here. So any divisions that are not assigned, well, all divisions are currently assigned. These guys should be coming in here. I'm going to grab 2 from here, and they are going to frontline here for now. Then I'm going to grab from here 3. They're going to frontline here. So that gives us 8 and 11. So we need 3 additional down here like this. I kind of hate that. I really don't like that we can't just have a single front line. Okay, well, we'll get some forts built here, and hopefully our troops will get there in time to hold those positions, but if not, that's not the end of the world. Okay, so we've got all of this under control now, so that looks great, and we are going to want to build land forts here as well, as a bit of a fallback line. Okay, so our troops are moving over. Looks like we're going to have defenses in these areas. So that looks fine for now. In theory. Okay, so we've got forces in position here, and that should be okay. This is a wider front than it was, for sure, but it can't really get too much wider unless Azerbaijan joins in, or the Republic of Iran. That would be problematic for us. But for the time being, this is okay. We're going to leave this be as it is. I'm content with that. So, back over on this side. How are we doing on our tank situation? So we can see we've got 1124 tanks needed for upgrades. We're making 25 per day. I'm content with the amount of tanks we're making. I think that's plenty. We do have all of these currently maxed out with their number of tanks, so that looks good. And we're still working on these. So this one is the furthest away, 16 May. Okay, that's not too bad. That's only a few months out. So that sounds good. I do want to hop in here and see what we might want to spend some political power on. So, are we still coring? We are. Okay. So we don't really want to do that. That's a bit of an issue for us, of course. Our war support is not terribly bad right now. So that sounds good. And I do want to check in. Okay, research is going to need work in a moment. So there's not too much that we need to be doing right now, although we can build anti-air here, and we probably should. Can we build any infrastructure out over here? Yes, we can, and we should definitely do that. What's the situation for supply out here? This does not look bad at all. So we've got this supply hub here. Let's go ahead and motorize that one and this one. That should give us plenty of supplies in this area. We can also run a quick rail line from here to here. Yeah, I'm going to do that. So that looks good. That'll allow us to move around a little more quickly. We've got our defenses going in here, so everything looks good there. They're going to have a very hard time breaking in through this still. So I'm relatively pleased with that. Now, we can turn our attention to this offensive operation. Now, we're currently having 40 divisions assigned to this, and that's, of course, 24 plus 16. Ah, machine-assisted decryption finishing up. Or rather, encryption. We should continue working on that, and we also have a tech that we can grab. I'm just going to grab something largely at random. This is all done for the moment. We'll do transport planes. Why not? Okay, so that looks good for the time being, and we'll just continue to dig in out over here. This should not be a particularly difficult thing for us to do. I don't think anyone was expecting what happened there. So, the United Arab Republic is probably going to fall fairly soon. Although I'm surprised that they haven't up until this point. I'm also surprised that they flipped this territory to us, because they got there sooner. That's kind of wild, but okay. Seems fine to me. So, it is currently 20 January, and we can take a look at this. We can see we're getting very, very well through these modern tank upgrades. And the old modern tanks that are being upgraded should be being stockpiled, and we can roll those back out as replacements once we start taking large tank losses, which will be happening eventually, for sure. Agility and range, strategic bombing is probably better for us than agility for large airframes, so we'll take that. I say as we do nothing with our Air Force, and we have no Navy. So we can see that they're trying to attack us out over here. I don't know why we have 8 units here. That's a lot. I feel like we should have at least 2 more up here. But okay. We're apparently able to hold here, so that seems fine. I mean, this is a hills province with 8 levels of land fort. They're going to have a really, really hard time breaking through that. So that looks good for now. We'll just continue to hold that line for the moment. So everything is looking fine on basically every front right now. We're just waiting on these to finish training. We just need 8 divisions here. So this is an infantry brigade. That infantry brigade should go here. Okay, excellent. So at this point, I'm very happy with the amount of tanks that we're getting, at least for the moment. We'll see how that plays out once we finish up, or rather, once we get started on this offensive, and especially if we're also doing an offensive over here, which I would like to plan that offensive. So let's grab this for the... What was that sound? Ah, a prototype decision available. Okay, so isotope separation facilities, huh? That's a proven technique. This would be better in the long run, though, and we're going to take the long run option. So that sounds good. So I don't know what this naval invasion is, but they're not actually going to do a naval invasion, so that seems absolutely fine. Back over this way, like I was saying before we were rudely interrupted, I wanted to get planning an offensive line here. And specifically, where I want to go is about here, pushing up to, but not beyond this river, until we get down here. I do want to push beyond this river over this way, because I want to take up this position. Hang on, I'm going to back off a bit here. I think we might have a bit of an issue over here. Not quite this, even. What I want is this. That would be the front line there. So basically, this joins up these 2 fronts, right? And we should be able to push through that, I think. I don't think we'll have a terrible amount of issue with it, other than we might have some supply issues. So we'll start planning that, but it's going to take a little bit of time. That's fine. We've got time. I want to launch that attack at the same time as we launch this attack. So we're going to have 2 offensives going on here. One to unify this line, and one to essentially carve a hole here and get the Ratinakosin Kingdom. I don't think I pronounced that correctly, but I want to definitely get that out of there. So naval invasions are apparently happening out over here. They keep trying these, and it keeps not working. It's never going to work. You can see here, they've got some fairly large units here, but it's not going to happen. They're not in a position to be able to do this. So that seems good. And we'll just have these guys preparing, but we're not going to launch these offensives for a little while. We did manage to get some extra territory over here, though. That's nice. Hang on. Why are we not defending this province? Okay. It's because of this. Gotcha. So this is 1 division that is supposed to be here now. I'm going to take... This is so awkward over here. I really wish we could just frontline whether they're... Frontline in the same front line, whether they're an enemy or not. Let's remake this. I'm going to have a chunk up here. So that's 24 divisions. We can't frontline here because these are technically not enemies. And we're going to need some units down here, of course. So I'm going to have these 6 be frontlining here. And then we've got 18 up here, so I want to select these, and I'm going to select half and then half again. And these are going to come frontline down here, like this. So 13, 5, 6 is the idea. Let's get our forces realigned there. I really wish we could frontline against non-enemy nations. That would make this so much cleaner. But alas, we can't do that. So we're just going to leave this be, and I'm sure that these guys are going to go away eventually, so that's going to cause us more problems in this area. Okay, so we just finished up something. What was that? Is that a tech? No. I don't actually know what that was. I clicked right through it and didn't even look. So that's understood. We have some forces on the way over here, but we should be in a good position as far as our land forts go. Yeah, we're absolutely doing well out over here for land forts. So that looks good. No major concerns there. There was a level of zoom there that was looking very strange, and I can't reproduce it now. Okay. Well, that's fine. So I want to check in on the status of these recruitments, and we can see they're definitely making solid progress. So that looks great. So we're definitely going to continue to get additional troops in. There's no doubt about that, but I'm very pleased with what we've got going on over here right now. Although, there's still only one unit here.
Hey, come out.
I see. It's because of the overlaps here. Very, very awkward overlaps. They were attacking specifically the United Arab Republic troops there, not us. What? That's very weird. I don't have any explanation for what just happened there. Okay. Maybe that's some beta weirdness. Who knows? We know that their troops took this over, but then it became our territory. So maybe that has something to do with it. There's some strangeness happening out over here, but that's okay. If there is strangeness, we've got fallback positions that are even stronger than these right here. These are desert provinces, so they're not the strongest to hold. It's going to be way harder for them to push into these mountains, so that's absolutely fine. This unit here, this is an infantry 1948 division, so that should go into our Coast Guard, and then we should grab a military district from our Coast Guard and move that up. Why was that going to delete the area defense order? I want to just assign the one division. Not all units. Okay, we'll do it that way. Sure, that was weird. So out over this direction, we've currently got 62, 63 command power. So I want to select this. I want to go in here. And I want to promote Narendra Sharma here. Okay, so he's now going to be in charge of this army group. And he's going to have probably offensive doctrine. Yeah, we'll go with offensive doctrine. That sounds good. He's not ready to go yet, though. We need to get this training finished first. We're getting very, very close on getting that training done, so this offensive is going to be launched soon. Keep in mind, this entire time... Ooh, what's this? Consumer goods factories factor of 10%. I think that's fine. We're mostly building things that are low priority at this time. So I think that's absolutely okay for the moment. Not a big deal right now. Now, as I was saying, keep in mind that this entire time we're stockpiling tanks. We're up to 2,007 of them stockpiled. So that's looking very, very good. And we're going to be able to utilize those stockpiled tanks if we're not making enough tanks. We'll find out. We will find out. So being patient here is absolutely the right play. We're just going to hold position for the moment. So I'm keeping an eye down over here. Honestly, I want to see the Great Iranian Empire lose this territory. Okay. Treaty of Baghdad just happened. So this is now owned by the British Empire. And you can see that this is now messed up over here. There's also an incoming raid somewhere. It's on our naval engineering facility. Okay, that should be fine. So that's absolutely okay. But I want to come out over here, and we now need to delete this yet again because this is all changed again. Now we still can't frontline all of this because of the United Arab States over here. The United Arab States are having war goals against these. But they also have a truce. Okay, so I'm going to select the guys that are up here, including these. And they are going to frontline up this way. Because this changed yet again. So we're going to have 12 divisions here and 12 divisions here. These guys are currently leaving. I'm not sure if they have military access in here. They give military access to... This looks like this is mostly the Allies, I think. Because this is the UK, not the British Empire. Remember, we're at war with the British Empire, not the United Kingdom. So they all left this area. We would be... Actually, we wouldn't be leaving this province undefended because this just extends up to here. So we should be good leaving it like this. Hopefully that's actually going to be good. Fingers crossed. Checking in on the status of our tanks, we can see that our armored divisions are very close to finishing training. Our furthest out are currently at 68%, 17 May 1951. So that's almost exactly 2 months. Not bad. Not bad at all. We're going to start seeing some of these finishing soon. That looks good. And in terms of our total number of tanks that we have stockpiled, 2374. And that's continuing to go up every single day. So we see them attempting to attack out over here in Kermanshah. Kermanshah? Yeah, Kermanshah. Okay. So that's fine. And we are going to just make sure that we have land forts in all of these areas. Yes, we absolutely do. Checking in on the status of infrastructure out here. It's making progress. Okay. So that looks good for now. We're going to launch this offensive soon, but we're not there yet. We need to assign this guy in here to this army group. Excellent. And if we take a look at the strength here, this is considering the enemy to be stronger right now. It's also considering the plan to be to our advantage. Inferior enemy. Okay, I'm getting mixed signals here. Inferior enemy, but the enemy is stronger. Actually, now it's saying the enemy is roughly equal. Okay, sure. That seems fine. We're going to launch both of these attacks, though, and I don't think that they can withstand both of them. I think that we're going to have a harder time pushing down here than we are up here, is my theory. At least until such a time as we get to about out here, and our supplies just go to absolute garbage. But, you know, that's going to happen. So that's absolutely fine. How many more tanks do we need? Well, 6 divisions. We just finished another one. Perfect. These are going to continue to finish over the next little while here. But every single day, we're stockpiling more and more of these tanks. And that's going to be good, because we're going to need them. I have no idea how many tanks we're going to use in this offensive, but it's going to be a lot. And are we going to burn almost 27 per day? And we can still bring this up a little bit. Are we going to be burning 27 tanks per day in this offensive? Very possibly. Very, very possibly. So we will see how that goes. If we succeed in pushing through here, that's wonderful. And we'll also make sure that we have some additional units over here, because we're going to need to have like 2 armies here and 2 armies here probably. But the tanks are going to be on this side. So like 1 army here, 1 army here, tanks on this side. And then the tanks are intended to sweep down this way. Is there a crossing here in this game? No. There's a crossing here, but not here. Okay, noted. That's going to create a giant strain on our Coast Guard. This is a lot of coastline. So that's a bit of a concern. No doubt about that. UAE, or not UAE, the UAS has changed their diplomatic status with us to cancel their non-aggression pact. Okay. Sure, we have this area fully defended, so I'm not terribly concerned about that. We still need an additional 5 tank units here, and they're very, very close to being done. But it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to start pushing on this offensive operation. The real question becomes, how are we going to defend all of this coastline? That's going to be a strain on us, for sure. We'll have to think about that, but for now, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time. I'm also adding more infantry divisions to our recruit up to 12, just real quick here. I added additional infantry divisions up to 12 total because I'm concerned about Coast Guard down over here, so we'll get that recruitment going. See you all next time.